Probably most of you did not wake up today thinking, oh, devotion is enlightenment. I actually poo-pooed it quite a bit and thought, that's a little bit excessive. When I practiced in Thailand, I heard about this one monk who spoke English, and turned out he was an arahat. Lumpu Bunyalit is his name. He was 92 at the time. And I met him at a monastery and practiced with him. So I was with him for like 5 weeks. I went to different places with him. Turned out he was an arahat, which I didn't really know. And he was so famous that when I was there, Thai Airlines sent him 2 gold card things so that he could just decide whenever he needed to fly somewhere, because he always had an attendant. He and his attendant could just go first class. And he was like American Idol, but as a monastic. No, I'm being really serious. Because on the weekend, just mobs of people would come and give him a lot of money and food, because he can't cook, or he can't even cut an apple, right? That's part of his whole practice is just a practice, right? And that's why he always has an attendant. And I also can't handle money and other things, but those are the main ones. So we meditated from 3 to 6 p.m. every day, 3 hours straight, and then from 8 to 11 p.m. every day. So twice a day for 3 hours. And the reason we started so late is because he watched cable tennis. He was obsessed by tennis and also Chinese kung fu movies. And so he was 92, so they were like, you could do this, and then we would just get up later. But however, but he still ate the 3 meals, or 2 meals. And in the morning, some Thai people would travel for an hour or 2 hours by bus to bring him his breakfast that they had made at home, because he can't make anything himself, right? And then they would then go off maybe for another hour or 2 on a bus to work, and then they would return to meditate with him every day of the week. Now, this is the kind of devotion, not the American Idol kind of devotion, but really the devotion of really having the values that someone who is completely dedicated, and who the majority of the people in Thailand really understood to be awakened, and someone whose whole life has been spent in making sure people suffering is alleviated or can end. So imagine if your life was that was the most important thing, and that you're devoted to that continuity and that possibility. Right? That's a very different sense of commitment to me. Right? Not just showing up to practice, but really to make sure that this has happened, and to validate and to honor beings whose life is devoted to the end of your suffering. That's huge. Imagine if the United States was devoted to the end of suffering. Imagine if most of the world was devoted to the end of suffering. Right? To not just the values of it as I won't lie, I won't, like a self-practice, but also an interaction practice, and then to uphold it in a way that's much more than just about the self or the interpersonal, but as a system, as a cultural system. That's devotion. What if that's your devotion?